Hello and welcome to 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐵𝐴 Serie A Match Day 3. We have only 4 teams with 6 points. Cremonese among them. We had a shocking defeat of Inter playing at home, Leo, and we have the Derby d'Italia on Saturday. So a lot of things to talk about in Italy.
Hello, Edu. Yes, and coming very early in the season, the Derby d'Italia. But it's not just a shock, of course, you see Cremonese winning 2 out of 2, but also that Jamie Vardy has arrived to Serie A and has arrived to Cremonese and could make his debut on Monday night.
Jamie Vardy, we have Kevin De Bruyne, so we have some Premier League legends in the Serie A, and it's going to be, I think, again, a very interesting season in Italy with plenty of surprises. Only in 2 games we've seen so many shocking results, so let's try to be accurate in our tips, guys. Of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And on Saturday, we have 3 games. First one is Cagliari, Parma, both with only 1 point, and both had a difficult schedule to start the competition. To be honest, Cagliari lost to Napoli 1-0, but they played a really good game. They only conceded in the last minute, and to be honest, Napoli didn't create a lot of chances in that game. And remember, goalless draw in the first match day with Fiorentina. Also for Parma, fought against Juve but lost 2-0 and drew with Atalanta. So again, Leo, 2 teams with only 1 point, but probably the competition starts now for both of them.
Yes, absolutely, and probably as well, or maybe a little bit more Parma. Will be happy to leave Sardinia with at least a point. For Cagliari, last season we talked about how they managed to escape any drama in the fight to avoid relegation by primarily winning the games against direct rivals. Time and time again, yes, they got points against the top teams. I remember like a 1-1 against Juventus in Torino, or a 3-3 against Milan in Sardinia, but they have done the double, winning home and away against Parma, for example, against Verona, against Monza. They won at home with Lecce and Venezia, and they drew on the road against 𝐿𝐵𝐴. So this is the kind of games that light up the season for Cagliari. Since the days of the book Soccernomics, we all know that one way to predict the league table is by looking at the wage bill. Well, looking at the Cagliari's bill, they should finish in the red zone in the 18th place. Looking at Parma's wage bill, they should finish just 1 place above, 17. For example, the total wage expenditure of Cagliari and Parma, it does not make it even what Erling Haaland gets in 1 year in Manchester City. You mentioned, yes, Cagliari losing agonizingly against Napoli on Matchday 2. Parma securing a very good point with 5 minutes to go against Atalanta away at the not away, I was at the Ennio Tardini. Patrick Cutrone scoring his first goal for a team after arriving from Como. On the final day of the transfer window, something we're going to be talking here, I mean, at least in terms of like players that have arrived after our second show or after Matchday 2. Cagliari added Andrea Belotti, another player in this case coming from Como, Cutrone to Parma, in this case Belotti to Cagliari. He scored twice in 19 games last season. Then in January, Belotti moved to Benfica. He played the Club World Cup for them in the summer. The days of yes, exactly, a red card as well.
His best days are long past ago.
Absolutely, I was going to that. I mean, I remember at some point in his contract in Torino, Edu, he had a release clause of 100 million euros. Well, it's not going to happen again. And in terms of signing, it was a shame that Cherubini, Parma's CEO, he ruled out going for Lorenzo Insigne because he's a free agent, terminating his contract in the MLS. it would have been nice to see him with Parma. Although we know the project of Parma is looking for young blood more than experience. The odds in this Cagliari Parma for a draw are attractive, Edu, at 3.25. I mentioned at the beginning, especially Parma will be happy to leave Sardinia with a point, with Carlos Cuesta doing his first arms as a manager in Serie A and as a manager in general. So that's my take. Cagliari Parma, draw 3.25.
Well, but the best games on Saturday are coming later. Juve, Inter, Derby d'Italia. Last season, remember, Juve won 1-0 and we saw a 4-4 in San Siro.
Yeah, well,
The end of the market for both teams were a bit strange, Leo, because Juve wanted to get 𝐭𝐿𝐵, but at the end he went to the Premier League, and Openda arrived. In my opinion, a strange signing, having 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀 and Jonathan David. 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀, actually in good form in this start of the season, scoring also with Serbia in the first game of Serbia in the international break. Juve with 6 points, and also Inter not getting any interesting player, in my opinion. We have the doubts of 𝐿𝐿𝐴 on the bench, and this shocking defeat against Udinese, even taking the lead with Dumfries scoring. Also not creating many chances. It was a completely different Inter from the one we saw in the first match day when they thrashed Torino, and they kept going, creating chances. So big question marks, I think, for both teams actually in this season.
I said one, and to be honest, I do not expect I do not expect nothing close to that 4-4 we saw in San Siro last season. Usually when we think about this game, we think of goals under market. It was a shocker, yes, that Inter's defeat against Udinese at home on Matchday 2, and even more that they scored first early in the game with Dumfries. They would not have to deal with Lautaro Martinez returning from international duty on Thursday, having just Friday to train before the derby. The good news for Lautaro, yes, the same than with Jonathan David and 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀, he scored in the international break, although against Ecuador he was subbed and he almost haven't seen the face of the Ecuadorian goalkeeper. For Inter against Udinese, it was the earliest defeat in a season since 2018 and 2019. So basically Inter not very used to lose points early, especially at home in the season. The second half was a bit better for Inter. Edu, against Udinese, they push, although they lacked a little bit of clarity. 𝐜𝐿𝐴, after the game, saying that his players must get ready to play dirty when necessary. He didn't mean to be aggressive, but sometimes he was explaining it's better to just pump the ball into the box rather than trying the most beautiful sequence of passes. For 𝗵𝗵𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗀, Signora, the debate, and it's a deja vu, because we had this last season as well at the beginning when 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀 was scoring, and in this case the debate around if he should play alongside Jonathan David instead of like one or the other. 2 games, 2 goals in Serie A for 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗀𝗀. You mentioned as well he scored against Latvia in the international break. Against England, well, he haven't even touched the ball almost. If they are about to play together, something that I don't see Igor Tudor doing, at least at the moment, probably will be 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲, the one losing his place. Jonathan David scoring against Romania for the first win away or in European soil for Canada in a friendly that was against Romania in a 3-0, and Jonathan David scoring one of those 3 goals. He didn't have a great game against Genoa. Actually, he missed a very good chance in the first half. Then he was replaced in the second half, and 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗀𝗀𝗀, after just 10 minutes of replacing Jonathan David, he scored the winning goal for Juventus. As I said, Edu, I'm not expecting here a goal feast. Probably there is a minimal favoritism here for Juventus, and looking at what happened on Matchday 2 is probably justified. My take here is goals under goals under 2.5, odds of 1.67.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Inter is still better this season than Juventus, but we will see throughout the season. Still many questions about the two managers and about the market, I think, of both clubs. Perhaps we see another 4-4, Leo, although it's very unlikely. And seeing this Juventus and Inter Milan doubtful this season put Napoli as favorites for the title, as we can see in the odds, 2.25. And well, perfect start for Napoli in the same style as last season, suffering but getting the points against Cagliari, as we mentioned, was a late goal scored by 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴. It was actually Napoli didn't create many chances in that game, but 2 clean sheets, 6 points. So again, perfect start for Napoli. For Fiorentina, it's a slow start with draws against Cagliari and Torino.
Yes, Edu, the only thing is like, well, we're going to start to see something that we haven't experienced with Napoli last season, which is European football.
Yeah.
The Champions League starting the next week. So we're going to see also in terms of like personnel, what are the decisions from 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴. But yes, the feeling is that like last season have not finished for Napoli, that this is just a continuation of the previous one. They're winning games, or not only winning games, but winning when everyone is thinking, okay, we are done, let's pack. In this case, 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴 scored in the 95th minute against Cagliari. I mean, it's true they have not created a lot of chances, but it was anyway a solid performance for Napoli in terms at least of not allowing Cagliari Edu to counter-attack, because Alex Meret didn't have to participate almost at all in the whole game. In central defense, Rachmani did not put the foot wrong, although we're going to have to see if he's going to be able to help his teammates in Firenze, because he had to leave so early during the international break because of an injury. I was saying that against Cagliari, I like that Napoli did not allow them to counter-attack, and that's going to be important against 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴, because Fiorentina has this kind of player that can hurt you on the break. We haven't seen so far much from Lorenzo Luca in 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴's Edu. He has struggled a little bit with his chances. With Cagliari, the other center forward was an under-21 international, Ambrosino. But on Matchday 3, things could be different, because they have added Rasmus Højlund as an option on the last day of the transfer market. Of course, we know things did not work out at all in Manchester, but if he gets to perform half of what McTominay has done last season, it will be a success. Also, Conte widened his squad with the return of Elmas from RB Leipzig. For Fiorentina, it's 2 consecutive draws at the start of the season, Edu. The one with Cagliari in Sardinia, Matchday 1, was lively, but the one with Torino was a little bit dreadful, to be honest. 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴 has not scored yet this season, but he's done it during international break. Pioli was annoyed with the offensive struggles of his team in Turin. Could have they won it? Yes, of course, because 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴 missed an incredible chance. But overall, a lot still to work from Stefano Pioli with his team. We will see, as I said, how Conte manages the fact that Napoli plays European football next week, something he didn't have to deal with last season. My take here, Edu, in this Fiorentina-Napoli, clean sheet Napoli, odds of 2.5.
Very likely we see an under in this game. Actually, it pays very little, only 1.6 to see under 2.5 goals in this game. And next one already on Sunday, Roma. Torino, perfect start for Giampiero Gasperini with Roma, 6 points. They were able to beat Pisa away. Also Bologna, 1-0, both games. I'm eager to see Dybala again, Leo, and they should beat Torino. The only away game was a 5-0 against Inter, drew with Fiorentina, as you mentioned before. So should be another clean sheet for Roma. Roma to win 2-0 looks like a normal bet, let's say, in this game.
Look, last season, Roma won 20 games, and 13 of them were wins 2-0. So far here in this season, we are 2 wins out of 2, and both Roma to win 2-0. So that's tell us a little bit. I think, I don't want to jinx it, but slowly, Giampiero Gasperini is taking us on a trip with his Roma against Pisa. Mattia Soler again proving to be the main man for the Giallorossi, scoring the winning goal. He had another one disallowed by the VAR. Dybala completed 45 minutes, playing as full second half. We saw that footballing dialogue between Soler and Paulo Dybala. 𝗀𝗵𝗍 came on the second half. Ferguson, the Irish international, not as lively as with Bologna, but he did well. He scored a few days ago against Hungary. Roma tried to have a deal in place with Milan, which involved swapping 𝗀𝗵𝗍 and Santi Giménez, but the Mexican refused to leave. Some in Italy are a little bit worried that Gasperini was not happy with the transfer market for Roma, that he did not get the players he wanted on the wings, and that friction could be created with the owners. We know that diplomacy probably is not the best quality of Gasperini, but at least this time in Roma he has Claudio Ranieri acting as a bridge between the manager and the directors. So that should always help to calm or to diffuse any tensions. Then on Matchday 4 there is a derby with Lazio, so it's very important that La Loba arrive with 3 wins out of 3. Torino should provide that platform for the Giallorossi. Fair enough anyway on Marco Baroni, Edu, because after that disastrous debut in San Siro, he managed to steer a little bit the ship with the draw against La Viola. I think with Roma, Che Adams will have finally the chance to start the game after 2 games coming from the bench, and so we should see 𝐬𝐭𝐵𝐺𝐼 Simeone in the bench this time, and the Scottish player starting the game. As I mentioned before, with those stats and Roma to win 2-0, I'm taking that route, Edu. Roma to win 2-0, odds of 2.45.
Yeah, it looks like the bet in this game to win is only 1.5. Next game is Pisa Udinese. Great start for Udinese, 4 points. No one expected them to beat Inter in San Siro, and I would say also, Leo, not a bad start for Gilardino's men. Yeah. It's true, only 1 point, but they faced Atalanta and Roma, and also against Roma they were very competitive, especially in the first half.
Yes, Edu, after only 8 minutes in the game, it was ecstasy at the Garibaldi Stadium, because Henrik Meister nearly brought the house down with a header, which was saved by the best goalkeeper in the Serie A, by Martin Svilar. So yes, they did well, and it's a good start for Pisa, to be honest, so far in their return to Serie A. Their season should start anyway now with Udinese. It's clear they lack creativity. On their debut, the goal against Atalanta was an own goal. With Roma, apart from that Meister header, it was difficult for them to create goal-scoring chances, but they showed the fighting spirit. Thinking about that, they brought Loran, a young attacking midfielder from Flamengo. He's only 19, but we will see if he can provide that attacking flair and creativity which is missing in this team. They added as well some experience, because if Loran is only 19, Raúl Albiol is 40, and he's the one to give some experience at the back. I don't know if he's going to play a lot or not for this Pisa team, but he knows Serie A very, very well. 6 years in Napoli between 2013 and 2019. Udinese provided us with that shocker on Matchday 2, winning away and from behind in San Siro. First win away against the Nerazzurri since December 2017. Kane Davis has probably his best game since arriving from Aston Villa 2 years ago. Last season, Udinese had a good start also. I remember they were top of the Serie A after 5 games. They have not registered a win this big last season when they were top of the table after 5 games. But it's vital for them to get a number of points in the first 3 months of the competition, so to make sure they won't need to look down after January, and they can concentrate in a mid-table finish again for Udinese. I'm not expecting goals here, Edu. To be honest, neither the bookies I believe. That's why I'm going for the under market here. Goals under 2.5, relatively good odds, 1.67.
Yeah, not bad. Next game is Atalanta Lecce. Juric is still looking for the first win with 𝐿𝐴, drew with Pisa, with Parma. 2 games that probably Atalanta should win if they want to finish in the top 4, and they are traveling to Paris in the Champions League. This is going to be even more complicated. This one should be the first win for Atalanta, but Leo, with odds 1.4, I'm not putting my money there. Lecce still looking for the first win, only 1 point, and also for the first goal.
Absolutely, I wouldn't be. I'm not putting my money on Atalanta, not at this stage, not after seeing what we have seen so far in 2 match days, knowing that as well they're going to have to rotate a little bit, thinking that they're traveling to Paris for their Champions League debut, what a debut away against the champions. The only good piece of news in the last few weeks is that Ademola Lookman returned to training with Atalanta. Ivan Juric has not disappointed so far. I think he's doing what we all have expected. 2 games, 2 draws, nothing of Gasperini's ball left to see. It must be a shock for the supporters who for 9 years went to see the football team, knowing that they will enjoy the spectacle, to have to face this now. This said, players and supporters would need to speed up, I think, the grieving period, because they could find themselves quickly into trouble, especially now with European football coming around. And I think they don't want January coming and thinking, okay, what happened here? What we need to do now to save the season. For Lecce, the point with Genoa was quickly forgotten. After that 2-0 defeat at home with Milan, they never threatened the Rossonero at the counter. Last season they managed to leave Bergamo with a point. If they do that again, if they had done it against Gasperini's men, why not to dream to do it against Juric Atalanta? Is Atalanta the favorite? Yes. Can Lecce anyway hold them back for at least 45 minutes, knowing that Atalanta, as I said, may need to rotate because of the Champions League match 72 hours after? Yes, they can do it. That's why my take here, Edu, first half, double chance, Lecce 1.83.
A lot of work for Juric. Next game is Sassuolo Lazio. Sassuolo, the only team with 0 points, with 2 defeats in this start of the Serie A, to Napoli and to Cremonese, a team that they should get points against. And Lazio, Leo, good reaction, 4-0 against Verona after losing 2-0 in Como.
Yes, and look, starting with Lazio, everything looked different at the Olimpico, with that 4-0 thrashing of Verona after that debut, which wasn't good at all, against Como in the lake for Lazio. Completely different performance, motivated probably with a poor record at home lately, because the one against Verona, Edu, was the first win at home in Serie A in the last 7 months. And the first one for Mauricio Sarri in his second stint. The highlight of the game was Tati Castellanos' Rabona assist for Zaccagni. Sarri mentioned that as much as it was serious stuff, that Rabona, he expects more goals from Tati Castellanos, especially from loose balls in the box. He said that Castellanos only scored beautiful goals, but that he needs to score more often. Nicolo Rovella was back in the starting 11 and was one of the best players in the night. Although he did not escape criticism from Sarri, he said that Rovella needs to play with one less touch. It's very open, Sarri, in his comments, and that is good and sometimes is bad. Remember that he left Lazio before because of the relation with the players was done, and many of them continue to be there. We'll talk about that on Matchday 1. About Noslim, for example, he said that he didn't even know yet what was his best position, if winger, second striker, or was the best for him. Matteo Cancellieri on the right wing got vindicated after that bad start against Como. Pedro played half an hour at least. 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗂 scoring his first goal of the season. Now comes this Sassuolo that came back from that 2-0 down in the first half and then lost it on added time against Cremonese. Domenico Berardi, the legend, celebrated again in Serie A. A defeat with Lazio will make it 0 out of 9, and the following weekend they visit San Siro, Edu, to play with Inter. If the feeling with Pisa Udinese was of no goals here, for me it's the other way around. That's why my take in this Pizza Lazio, Edu, both teams to score. Sassuolo, please, sorry. Sassuolo Lazio, both teams to score yes and combined with goals over 2.5. These two together, odds of 3.34.
Looking for the first points, Sassuolo, and to finish Sunday, we have Milan-Bologna, a really good game. I'm surprised to see these odds, actually. Milan, super favorite. Odds are below 2, despite losing to Cremonese in the first match day. It's true that they beat Lecce, where we saw Pulisic, for instance, scoring, but still I have many doubts about this Milan. Bologna beat Como 1-0 after the defeat at the Olimpico. Even if that defeat, they were okay, Leo. They could have gotten even a point in the opening game against Roma. So I think Bologna 4.3 to win. I would back them somehow, to be honest.
But I'm not backing Milan to win. That is not my take. I can expect, and I'm going to go to that, Milan to score first because they're going to be pushing from the beginning because they are playing at home. But if that will lead them to 3 points, scoring first, I don't know, and I wouldn't put my hands in the fire for that for these Milans of Max Allegri. They said they had a very good transfer window, Edu, to be honest, because yes, I explained before with Roma that there was a case of or chance of swapping 𝗀𝗵𝗋 for Santi Jimenez. In the end, it did not happen. They tried for Victor Boniface. He traveled to Italy, but he did not pass the medical, and in the end, it was Christopher 𝗀𝗏𝗏, the one arriving in almost 38 or 49 million euros from Chelsea, the French winger, striker, or half nine, who did very well in the Bundesliga with Leipzig, but in Chelsea did not do as well with RB Leipzig, but he's a very good player. 9 players coming for Milan, and some of those are, as I said, 𝗀𝗏𝗏, and then you have Samuel Ricci, Adrien Rabiot, 𝗀𝗵 Estupiñán, De Winter, Modric. Max Allegri has personnel to fare better than last season under Fonseca and under 𝐿𝐭𝐴 with this Milan. This squad is better than last season, Edu. 𝗀𝗏𝗏 can provide the range of solutions. He can play winger, as I said, second striker. He can be Milan's number 9. He can be a trequartista. And then you add Leao, Pulisic, Modric, and Rabiot could arrive from behind. Same goes from Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a supporting role. With Bologna, anyway, we should see more of Pulisic and Jimenez, probably both starting, because Allegri has already said that 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and Leao are not 100% fit, so they're likely to start in the bench. And the interesting thing is that as many options as Milan has, there is no proper or natural number 9 in the squad. Many can play there, and 𝗀𝗏𝗏, as I said, is one of them, but they have no specialist in that role. We will see how the relation between Adrian Rabiot and Allegri develops. They worked together in Juventus. They had good moments. And others in which as well Allegri criticized publicly the French midfielder. But at the same time, I remember when Rabiot renewed his contract in Juventus in 2023, he said that Allegri was instrumental in that staying in Turin. So we're going to see as well how is the reception for him from the Rossoneri supporter. Bologna, the win against Como was vital with that Orsolini's goal. Orsolini played against Israel for Italy in the international break. He scored 15 goals last season, his personal best, and they will need him more than ever this season. With Lecce, Milan, nothing extraordinary, but a step forward. Yes, I guess for the book is looking at that talent. That's why Milan is favorite. I don't expect a goal feast here. Milan to win has those high odds of 1.91. My choice will be a little bit more conservative, as I explained before. They will push from the beginning. They have the responsibility in front of their own fans. So my take is Milan, first team to score 1.67. I don't know if scoring first will take them to get the 3 points. We will see. Again, I'm not putting my hands in the fire for Milan's Allegri, but Milan, first team to score 1.67.
And for Monday, we have two games for the relegation battle. Verona, Cremonese, only 1 point for Verona. The draw with Udinese and lost 4-0 to Lazio. Remember, at the beginning of the season, they were favorites to go down. Also, Cremonese was among the favorites to finish in the bottom three, but they had an amazing start with 6 points. Milan and Sassuolo were the victims. Davide Nicola making again the miracle, and now with Jamie Vardy, indeed, Leo.
Absolutely, and he will wear the number 10 for Cremonese. The Cremona's attack will be 74 years old, 38 Vardy and 36 Franco Vázquez, the Argentinian who played with Dybala in Palermo and won the Europa League with Sevilla, where he played for 5 seasons. Vázquez scored against Sassuolo on Matchday 2 for the second win of the season. The last time in Serie A for Cremonese, they won 5 games all season. They already have 2 wins in their comeback. But Vardy's move is great. The oddity of the move is amazing. He could have gone to any team in England. He always been a different player in this modern age, and his career did not follow the criteria to make it as a Premier League footballer and as a legend either. He made his debut in the Premier League when he was 27, so that's Jamie Vardy's amazing and strange career in this modern era. What can Vardy provide? Well, goals in attacking transitions. And it's not a problem for him not to touch the ball very often, as it's going to be the case with Cremonese, because they're going to sit usually deep and they're going to try to punish rivals in the counter, because that was the case in Leicester. And it will be the case, as I said, now with the Cremonese. Most of the teams that Cremonese will play against this season will come at them, and that's going to leave a space in behind for them to attack. And Vardy's speciality is exactly that. And don't forget that Cremonese have players like Martín Pallero or Jeremy Sarmiento that could provide those passes that Vardy needs. For those dreaming Vardy to be Serie A goal scorer this season is 150 to 1. What is certain, Edu, more than that, is that Davide Nicola is betting on experience for survival. Vázquez, Vardy, Tony Sanabria, the Paraguayan striker who arrived from Torino. Also Federico Bachirotto, who has experience as well. He helped Lecce to avoid relegation in the past. With Sassuolo was an early 6-pointer. Now with Verona, more of the same. Verona left the capital with that 4-0 thrashing against Lazio. If you look at the community tips in Oddspedia's website, you will see that everyone is pointing 𝐿2 or 𝐿2 double chance. And let me tell you that I'm joining that party. My take here is double chance Cremonese combined with goals over 1.5. These two together, double chance Cremonese goals over 1.5, odds of 2.24.
Well, we are not seeing a lot of goals in this start of Serie A, much less than in previous season. A good example, for instance, is the next game, Como and Genoa. Genoa 1 point and no goals scored, only lost to Juventus 1-0, drew with Lecce 0-0. So really few goals, and Como 3 points because they won at home 2-0 against Lazio, 1-0 lost against Bologna. So again, Leo, in these two teams, in all 4 games, in none of them over 2.5 goals, in none of them both teams to score.
Yes, absolutely, Edu. To be honest, I'm happy at the same time that the transfer window is closed, because Como otherwise would still be signing players. They added Diego Carlos and the Austrian international Stefan Posch. Genoa cannot have the same luxury, even if they haven't scored, as you mentioned, in 2 games. But the situation for Como is different. But still, it was a clear dip in performance for them in that defeat against Bologna on Matchday 2. Fabregas handed the debut to Jesus Rodriguez, 19 years old, coming from Betis. He made his international debut as well with Spain against Bulgaria in Sofia last week. Himself, 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐼, who didn't play a single minute against Ecuador for Argentina, and 𝐜𝐿𝐴, once he returns from injury, should provide the quality in attack with Morata as an option, as well as 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐼. For Genoa, that defeat against Juventus at home, another game which they didn't score, but they were very close. Actually, they hit the crossbar in the last ball of the game with a header. Last season, it was a low-scoring affair in this Como Genoa, with Como winning 1-0. The game being on Monday will provide important rest for players like 𝐿𝐵𝐿𝐼, who's going to need to travel from South America. As I said, Genoa will be happy to leave with a point. So if the game opens, Edu, that should come especially in the second half. That's why my take here is Como to win second half. Como to win second half, odds of 2.1.
Well, this is it for the Serie A. A lot of surprises we had in match day 2. We have Derby d'Italia. We have a great Saturday ahead of us in Italy. So it's the moment for you to post your tips. If you want to do so in the Oddspedia website, you can win some cash prizes with our tipster competitions. And as always, you have rivals at your disposal where you can create your own tipster competitions. Leo, safe bet?
Sassuolo Lazio goals over 1.5, odds of 1.30.
ACCA?
Juventus Inter goals under 2.5. Milan first team to score, double chance Cremonese. These 3 together, odds of 4.46.
Thank you, Leo. Thanks everyone for watching. Arrivederci.